Hello, everybody. It's a great day to be Junior Potter here, Mr. Parrot. Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, here with your science lesson. First off, do your bell ringer for today. It should be up in the Tuesday folder. Then what we're going to do right after that is that we're going to look at our brain. We'll look at different parts of our brain and take a couple of different notes on it. We're going to do half today. Mixed in there, we'll do some of our little brain puzzle type activities. And then tomorrow, or not tomorrow, because Wednesday's Leadership Academy, so there's not going to be anything posted tomorrow because there's nothing going on Wednesday besides Leadership Academy, and those things usually don't get posted, but you can check what we're doing on the Leadership Academy stuff, but I won't have a post for anything. Thursday, then, we'll finish off the second half of things. So I'm going to run you through the notes up to the first half. I'm going to go through them kind of quickly since you can pause the video whenever you need to write stuff down. So I'm not going to give like the usual in-class time to go through things that normally would to have things going with. But if you want to, on Schoology, I'm already in the Tuesday and Thursday folder for December because there are two things there. There's a handout of the nervous system with the notes completed. You can print this out if you want to take them on there. Actually, this is a completed version of it, so do not do that one because I won't have you take notes. Hey, there's the blank copy. You won't see the completed copy when I put it on there, so you will only see this blank copy. But you can print it out. There's a couple of pictures that will be labeling on there. All that kind of good stuff. Or if you want to take just notebook paper and write them down, you can do that as well. There's some slides that we're going to go through, so you can pull up the slides if you want to, or I'm going to go through them up until the point where we're going to cut it off today. We're going all the way up to where it says the peripheral nervous system, which would be slide number... I'm going to have to figure out what slide number that's going to be. Let me figure it out here real quick. That is going to be slide number 10 is where we're going to stop. So you're going to go all the way through 10. That'll leave us about half for tomorrow. As you can see, there's some video scattered in there. I'll have the links to the raw videos in the folder just in case they don't work with the slideshow, because I know when Schoology gets a hold of things, it can kind of be a little bit weird with how Schoology ends up handling some of those. So let's take a look at what we've got going on with our nervous system. We're going to start off with the top here. Got a little funny quote there at the beginning, dealing with our left and right-handedness, only in your right mind, because your right hand is controlled by your left side of your brain, your left hand is controlled by the right side of your brain, so you're only in your right mind if you're left-handed. Some good stuff going on there. But let's start with how we've got things going on. I'm going to shrinky-dink myself a little bit. You don't need to see me all too much. You just need to hear me. There we go. Boop. Shrunk it down. We're first going to start off with the central nervous system today, which is part of the brain and spinal cord. It's basically the main thing inside of our body that's going to control most everything. It acts as kind of like the control center. It coordinates all of our body's activities. It basically makes sure that we are doing what we need to be doing. And what's usually going to happen from the central nervous system is that it sends out these nerve impulses. And these nerve impulses travel through nerve cells, which are called neurons, to reach certain parts of your body and to get back to the brain. In the diagram up there, right above Homer with the little monkey thing for the brain, the yellow parts are the central nervous system. So you got your brain right up here, and then the middle part of your body, your spine, is going to be a part of that. The other parts are what we're going to be calling the peripheral nervous system, which that is going to be our topic for Thursday. So let's take a look at the brain. The brain itself is the control center of the body. It's part of the central nervous system, as we kind of looked at it there. A lot of people basically call it like our computer of our mind, because it's basically going to be a bunch of processing that goes on with it. It contains itself about 100 billion nerve cells, which are nerve cells are called neurons, but 100 billion of them are just in our brain itself. And the things that protect the brain, obviously, we got our skull, but there's also different connective tissue. Think of like the stuff that connects muscles together, your tendons, ligaments, those sort of things. There will be connective tissues in there. And then there's just fluid that is in there to kind of help cushion blows as it goes in there. The skull is the hard part that protects it, but then it's also got fluid in there to kind of cushion things. So when you go like this, it's not banging against your skull. The fluid is there to make sure that things are still locked in place. There are 3 major parts of the brain. Like I said, I'm going through quickly. If you need to, pause the video to catch anything that you missed, or the slides are on there. I'm just going through things without the pauses. There's 3 parts to your brain. There is your brainstem, which is at the base of your brain. There is the cerebrum, which is what you think of as like the main part of your brain, the thing that looks like, I don't know, crumpled up newspaper or spaghetti noodles or a raisin. That is the part that is the cerebrum, and then the cerebellum is kind of located in between those two. It's a little kind of like, I don't know what kind of thing you call it. It's the thing that kind of connects off in there. It's green in the picture down below. But what these things do, our brainstem controls our body's involuntary actions like breathing or heartbeat or digestion. Things we don't have to think about on a daily basis. Our body just takes care of it. That's done with the brainstem. One of the parts of the brainstem is called the medulla oblongata. One of my favorite parts, just to say there. That's going to regulate things like your heartbeat, your breathing, all that kind of stuff going on there. Your cerebrum is the main thing where all your data is going to be collected. It's going to be where your senses are, so anything that has to deal with hearing, touch, sight, taste, or smell all go through the cerebrum. It helps control some of your movements. It also is your thinking part. So your ability to learn and remember, language, writing, speaking, all that stuff is in your cerebrum. It is the largest spot, I think, percentage-wise. It's 70% of your brain, I want to say, is your cerebrum. I believe that's the number. I could be wrong on that. I'm just trying to remember some of my facts that are in my head. But as the cerebrum, it's the big part. It's your thinking part of your brain. And then you got your cerebellum, which is mostly going to be coordinating with your muscle actions and helps you keep balance. So being able to move and do certain actions, like swinging a baseball bat or throwing a ball or doing something involving your muscles, that is gone with your cerebellum. Also, your ability just to walk without falling over would be your cerebellum as well. Being able to put one foot in front of the other without tripping over yourself, pretty important there. The different lobes of the brain, we've got a bunch of them, but these are the 4 major ones that we're going to take a look at: the frontal, parietal, occipital, and then the temporal lobes. So there's that picture of a brain on your diagram. You can label each one of these. Give a little space to write what each one of them does, though. That's why I gave you kind of that big space in the middle, so you can write down a little bit about what each one of them does, because here's what each one of them ends up doing there for us. Each one of them basically has a little bit to do about each one of the senses, but also takes care of some other activities as well. We'll start with the frontal part, which is right smack dab in the middle of or front of your brain, not middle. I guess it's middle and front. This is important for your cognitive functions, like your big thinking parts. You can kind of think of as that is kind of your cognitive abilities for things. It's also your voluntary movement, so wanting to go from one thing to another or focusing in your attention is done in your frontal lobe. Your parietal lobe, which is kind of right up top, kind of top back, think of like crown of your head almost. That is where we do things dealing with temperature, taste, touch, and movement. So a lot of the aspects involving feeling things from like your skin point of view is going to be done in the parietal lobe there. At the very back, kind of like, think of like the base of where your head meets your neck, right back there. That's going to be your occipital lobe. That's where your vision is going to take place, responsible for a lot of your vision. So it's actually, you would think it would be in the front, but actually your eyes and your wiring go all the way around towards the back. So it kind of wraps around almost like goggles and goes all the way to the back part of your brain. Which is why if you ever seen, like, in movies or in things, if somebody gets knocked in the back of the head, they get knocked out, because it hits the vision part and they black out at that point. And usually that's the first thing to go there when they're getting hit in that area. But that's your occipital lobe for vision going on there, kind of in the back side. And then you got temporal. This is kind of like the sides. I usually think of it like as the ears on back. That processes our memories. It then combines them with all of our other senses. So your memories are located here, as well as how they end up connecting to the other parts. We looked at a little bit about that on Monday with memory activities going on there. Here's a little video about just other fun facts about the human brain. You can take a look at, I'm not going to watch it now because that'll take time away from you to watch it on your own. But a couple of fun facts about the brain going on in there. The kind of last little bit that we're going to look at is the two sides of the brain, and then our spinal cord. So our brain is divided into a left side and a right side. Our left side of our brain, it's going to be opposite on my video, but this is my left side. It's going to be more your mathematical and logical thinking. So your kind of your more, you want to say like your school kind of brain part is your left side, I guess you could say. Your mathematical, logical thinking, how you think about things. Your right side is your more creativity and artistic skills. So being able to come up with a creative answer on the fly versus wanting to get the answer right and knowing what the correct answer is. But both of them work hand in hand together. But usually what is found is that a person's more left-brained than right-brained. These are kind of some questions and kind of activities that go along with what side are you? Are you more left-brained or right-brained when it comes to thinking about things? So you can watch that video to see what side of the brain you most likely fall on. Then the last final thing that we got for today is the spinal cord. The spinal cord is actually surrounded by the actual spine itself. The spine and the vertical column of things are the bones that are there. So you can see the bones twirling about. Those are the bones. Inside of that, you can kind of see it as they're going around there. There's a hole through the middle of the spine. That is where the spinal cord will actually be. It is just layers of, it's just your nerve cords going down, and it's surrounded just like the brain with different connective tissues and different fluids, so that when you're jostling around and your body's jostling around, you're not going to be, instantly cut off from the rest of your body when you do that. It's kind of got some protection around there. And basically what the spinal cord does is that it's responsible for reflexes, but it's also responsible for connecting the peripheral nervous system and the peripheral nerves to the brain. But it also is responsible for handling some of the reflexes too. So like if you put your hand on a hot oven and you go, ow, that is hot, your brain isn't involved in that reaction. You detecting that it's hot and you pulling your hand away is a reflex that takes care of by the spinal cord. The spinal cord knows that's dangerous. It sends it right back to get away from it. So a lot of your spinal cord kind of stuff deals with some of your, a little bit of what you call the fight or flight kind of instincts. Because by the time it gets to your brain and back down, your hand could be toast, literally, like burnt at that point. What it ends up doing is that it sends something very quickly to relieve the thing that is causing it to pain, usually with it. So spinal cord sometimes dealing with our reflexes there, given into us by the peripheral nerves. And that will do it for today. We'll continue with the peripheral nervous system on Thursday. Let me pull up the agenda again. So there's no homework or anything. Just make sure that you get through the first 10 slides of the notes there, jotting them down. There's a lot of stuff there to go over. Like I said, there's a couple of those videos that we're watching in class that kind of go along with those things. Those are some of the brain puzzles are in there to figure out whether you're left or right brained, or just some of the fun facts dealing with the brain. No homework. I will see you. Remember, tomorrow is Leadership Academy, Wednesday, so there's not going to be any lessons for science posted. You can check out Leadership Academy if you're interested in what we're doing tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you back on Thursday and hopefully see you soon in class.